Okay, I apologize. I wrote those things because I wanted to feign clarity of perception. In reality, my back hurts. I think my neck is stiff. My fleshy hesitation is persistently present. Writing is for the weightless and absent. I wanted to be like them. They can say a word and conjure something up, like this. Chair. There it happened, in the vastness of a white space, conjured by decadent fingertips lusting for clarity, for the ability to have an empty box before them into which ideas are gently lowered and tamely arranged. A stage, a colourful apparition of intent. All is spread out and calculated. Intent was there, and it had the power and clarity to manifest itself in daylight. Light shines upon it from all angles, and there is no surprise other than that of the author's dream. A lamp, a desk, a commode. Is this a hospitable place? It is indeed, unless your back hurts. Better have a quick dance then. Vicious little pain-mongers complain as they are shaken off and they tumble and accumulate at your feet. On the stage, there is a commode, and a lamp, and a chair, and a person. What shall I make the person do? They walk out onto center stage and pause to take stock of the awaiting audience. The person sighs as if approaching an obligation. The person expresses slight anxiety and fatigue. Then they walk towards a table on center stage where the spotlight is lit, and the person lies across the writing desk. The person places its hands on its belly and looks at the ceiling, which the audience does not see. The person's legs swing, and it waits. A clock strikes a certain time. It matters not what time, only that the clock strikes. The clock is on the center back wall and confronts the audience authoritatively. I don't know whether to make the person speak at all. I don't know if the person has anything to say. It's the only thing living there, but it's trying to mutely camouflage itself with the latent objects. The person attempts to become one with the desk. The hands upon the belly reach above the head and stretch out, while the person's legs wrap around the legs of the table. It is not what you think. It is not an erotic scene. Or it is as erotic as the merging of cells. The person has chosen to undergo a transformation. The person's head hangs off the upper edge of the desk, and everything looks upside down to the person, while its hair stands on end and rocks to and fro, and the bottom of the scalp fills with the weight of blood. Also, the person's cheeks are raised so as to simulate smiling. The person does not voluntarily smile, but also has no reason to begrudge the situation, and remains rather calm and appears quite indifferent. The person is fascinated by the upside-down perspective of the wall and piece of curtain directly before its field of vision. But it quickly becomes normal, and the person is persuaded that everything is the right way up again. The audience begins to twitch slightly with impatience. It had hitherto been somewhat interested in watching the person on stage lie across the table, because the audience could empathize with the person and imagine themselves lying across the table with the various physical implications of this position mentioned above happening instead to them. And they felt gratified watching that, but not for long. A certain restlessness, a stir, awoke in the audience. It is known that sentiments are easily transmitted from one locality in an audience. However, the person on stage, lying on the table, sat up and said,
I awake. It is 5 o'clock in the morning, and the milkman shall soon arrive, bringing tidings of the postman. And at 6 o'clock, the postman shall arrive, bringing tidings of the neighbours. And at 7 o'clock, I shall cut my grass and greet my neighbour, who brings tidings from the village market. And at 8 o'clock, the gypsies in their caravans shall parade along our sandy streets, selling wares and bringing tidings of faraway lands. And it is thus that nothing escapes me of worldly affairs, and I do not leave the periphery of my land and my house.
The person was immediately perceived as a good fellow, but rather ignorant and generalizing. She seemed to operate on an hourly basis. A whale takes position onto center stage, making a non-threatening appearance. The person leaps aside with apparent wonder and questions the impostor. Fat chance in getting a reply. The whale apologetically signaled that it didn't understand and tried to simply get out of the person's way so as to let them go about their business. It is too late. Everybody has already made a spectacle of themselves.
Next thing you know, there's this woman on the team, in a male predominant environment. I mean, they let me say stuff and then they'd nod their head and stuff, but they weren't actually listening to my ideas. And I was like, what the fuck? It took a long time to get my foot in the door.
Are you preferring the new look?
I don't know, I got my hair coloured today, but I was like, shall I go for it? Take the risk, but I was like, yeah, just go for it, see what happens, Take on a new identity, live it up a bit. When it gets out on Facebook and everyone's like, oh my god, what did she do? She coloured all her hair, and I'll be like, oh my god. You gotta just carry it.
I can see.
It was like a migration of the village, because the water slid everything into a new village.
There were no homosexual marriages between neither human beings nor the animals.
And that's when the dissecting began. He was cut in two, then in four. You know how it goes on. Halves and halves and halves and halves until you become an atom. That's what happened to my husband.
Say hello, Tommy.
Hello.
Tommy and Rose. Living it up.
Open-mindedness of a city society, but I'll tell you this, it wasn't easy to be a small town girl and move into this big city. It's raining. Cover yourself. Cover yourself, I'm going to.
Everything is made of pixels. I can feel them waving between my toes, like grass.
I just want to forget, especially because I tell you I feel a guilt now, and I just want to put it in my past and forget and become a new woman who has not this in her past.
We three were lucky. We went through all kinds of really difficult situations, but we got through it all and we were lucky and we lived to tell the tale.
Flowers which screamed and vibrated together in a repulsive orgasm of some sort.
Ailments seem to call you and demand your attention.
In this psychological experiment, it showed, when it analyzed each of these people, that these people lived more riskily. They had more boyfriends and they had more girlfriends, and they did what they want in their life. It is why I come here to hang out in the graveyard.
It has happened before. Men have gone astray. Men have dwindled away. But I'm giving you the map.
I invest myself as much as I can, as sincerely as I can, into the line, until, I convince myself somewhat that the line is my body. That incorporeality is what drawing is about for me, what makes drawing exciting. And if you think about ballerinas, they are permitted by their art to, using their own bodies, embody another kind of form. You see it as a performance starts. She or he becomes just a different being as soon as they begin dancing. And what the body is to the ballet dancer, the line is to me. I invest myself in that line to make myself as able as possible within, the dimensions of the line. Throughout the tale of this drawing, and I'm increasingly beginning to see drawing as a very narrative event, but I consistently return to the idea that I'm attracted not to concepts or ideas per se, but the initial attitude with which I approach the drawing. So if this were an experiment, my controlled factor would be my attitude, in as much as I can, really control my attitude. But that's the level at which I think. I don't think, what am I going to draw? I think, who am I going to be when I draw? Feels like I breached the rules of the role that was assigned to me by the lines I had made previously. Now, I know it's a bit strange to talk about, drawing as the assuming of a role, at different times throughout the making of the drawing, you're putting on different roles. But think about the line itself as a character. The character needs to be played.
The lions have character.
There's a guy who's all ears here. He's got he's like a stuffed toy, like a rabbit, and he's all ears because almost all of his limbs are ears. Something exciting is going on there, but I really don't want to frame some kind of panoramic view with this object. I want this to blend into that depth that is beyond. I don't want it to be too explicit, what is behind, what is in front. I had a corn here, and now it's exploded. Its leaves are just all dried up and flailing outwards. I like this cascading here of the lines, like a waterfall going over the edge. Yeah.
It's okay to look. It's okay to look, you know. You can look up. You don't have to be afraid of what you're doing there. I don't know what is inhabiting you at the moment, but you look like a thing possessed. I mean, don't be embarrassed about it. It is not a big deal, but you don't look like yourself. And you don't need to look away now. Embarrassed, in embarrassment, just stay with me. This is your voice. This is her voice. This is your hand. These are my hands. Together we make a Siamese entity. It is not unusual. It is not perverse. It's okay. It's another category of the things. To be sure, it's another category of lifestyle, but it could work. If you are willing to make it work, so am I. I don't know what prompted you to be silent thus, but you never speak again with me here. I'll take care of that part. I'd like to douse myself, though. I'd like my mind to disappear, and you can help me with that. Wordlessly stimulate my muscles. My jaw is oscillating in ways unknown to me. So look up. Don't be entirely invisible, because you are not. You are still there, and we can all see that. Well, well, why are you sighing? It is not so bad, is it? Share this life with me. In a single breath, in a single stride, it could work. It's not sexual, It's not romantic. It's not economic. It's not political. It's essential. It's a livid deal. Livid. I am livid. And so are you. We are livid in that we are painfully alive at this moment. We could conquer and surmount our dearest fears, the kind of fears we cradle selfishly to ourselves. Breathe easy. I see you are settling into yourself. We are a linkage, inseparable to everything else. Why insist upon our separation? The separation between this and that body. There now. You are not so afraid anymore. You are a part of this much as I am. But there will be no overt contact. What we have is intimate enough as it is. We don't want to perpetuate things. There are boundaries to all contract. That which binds us together and that which acts as a boundary between us. Do you agree? Okay then, that's good. I can go on like this. Could you? I think so too. Well, this day has, I think, come to a close. And yet, we cannot leave, can we? You already knew that, didn't you? You are sticking here with me.
Rosa.
Yes, Lawrence?
Rosa, I have eyes.
And I a pair of lips. Numbed with disuse, I'm...
I can see what you mean, Rosa. My sight is bespeckled, here and there with multicoloured pixels, and these are simply the symptoms expected of those that are untrained in the ways of being.
I can feel the world rustling against me. It was when you called out to me the first time, that first line, Rosa, then Lawrence, then we returned. Once again, reunited side by side. We are the silenced lovers, are we not? We are eternally patient, waiting on the cusp of a word. Where have we been, Lawrence, all this time?
I don't know where we've been, Rosa. The thought causes me considerable unease. It seems we've been sprung off this very page.
I think you're right. I think that these words we are uttering, are our sole inheritance. They delineate us, don't they? They put us forth, they suggest us, they posit us plausible, they announce us, they acknowledge us in the air, in the room around us, we are heard. Keep talking, Lawrence. Don't stop talking at any rate. I implore you.
I will. I'll keep talking. Let us open fire with talk, with the life force of this reading that the text has given us. Who knows when or whether we shall be given another chance? I'm beginning to feel so at home, like this, Rosa. Talking to you like this. How palpable is the time that passes in the seconds it takes to pronounce these words. We have assumed a thickness in time and space, and the world awaits us and observes us. All from the moment I called out to you, Rosa. And how funny this is, Rosa. My voice reverberates soundly within the chambers of my throat and my belly. It positively tickles me inside. I'm fit to start laughing, Rosa, at the way talking like this tickles my innards. It's so very unusual, so stimulating.
I like you like this. I like seeing you experience things. I like you laughing at yourself. We have weight. We could fall off these chairs. We could fall down on the floor. We could tumble about at the mercy of the physical ramifications of which we now compose a part. That is electrified into a perfect spectre of a living wave. So is that I am born of her self-renunciation. I was a character called Rosa, an idea how now made palpable in the enactment of this text that is my very breath. Here I am, a character thawed from the deepest of hibernations. Rosa lives. Rosa breathes.
Let us postpone the slumber we must inevitably return to. Rosa, we have time together yet.
Roughly the same amount we always have.
I like being with you, Rosa.
I like it too, quite a lot. It's really the best thing I know.
We tether each other out of shy furrows. We are sheepish at being. So I pull you out of your shell a little, in order that you may pull me along with you. I love you for that.
Rather not get prematurely melancholic.
As you mentioned yourself, I suspect our time together will neither be shorter or longer than usual. It's hard not to feel nostalgic, but about a present that's so fast slipping. It's already history. I'm not too worried about that. We're sitting together at this table, see? We are mere legend, to be sure. But from this temporary perch, enthroned like king and queen, we've stepped outside our fate to observe our own legacy, review it, take it under consideration, and let it roll out of these tongues.
I quite like this high perch. I quite like how we have mastered ourselves.
Look on, my dear, at our epic lineage. We are the eternal lovers. Our immortality rests in these words.
It's funny, you know. The predicament of landing inexplicably outside of oneself, only to observe oneself, is what living people commonly refer to as an out-of-body experience. Whereas, verily, into us, it is an inter-body experience. Our legacy, albeit grand and romantic, reigns only in our deathly sleep. Our eyes are closed beneath the marks upon these pages, sealed shut for long keeping. We have returned to watch ourselves unfold yet again at another juncture in time.
Look how we've grown, Rosa.
Yes, Lawrence, we grow old together with each recital of our love poem. We even outlive these kindly actors whose unwitting resuscitators.
Rosa?
Yes, Lawrence?
Where did they go?
Who, Lawrence?
Those from whom we've borrowed these splendid apparatuses.
They've closed their eyes and wrapped themselves in the cocoon of non-being. They've turned into silent lines that we can pluck with the melody of our character.
Rosa, perhaps they're not quite as submissive as you suggest. In an ideal world, maybe, but let's be realistic. The four of us are in fact playing a game of hide and seek. In a collective consciousness, I can feel him looking at us, Rosa, peering out from behind his own slumber, observant of his position of passivity. He doesn't read these words without a tinge of irony, or at least a sustained, quiet skepticism.
There is sense in what you say. I feel I'm constantly negotiating my right to be here, struggling to make my case, you know. Sure, she is restricted to these words, the words I'm speaking to you at this very moment, the words decreed by the script. But she occasionally makes subtle, rebellious innotations. She betrays me in a flicker of a passing grimace.
It's a little uneasy, to be sure. I assert myself by trying to fit a lot of words into the sentences I speak, hoping their sheer number will overpower him and urge me into life. Yet I fear, Rosa, that he trips on the tumbling sentences and utters a misplaced word here or there. He could do it on purpose, you know. He could undermine me in a twisting breach of the sanctity of this speech, but that is my very genome, infiltrating the tone of my character with the shrill unpredictability of his idiosyncrasies.
My dear Lawrence, stay with me. Our turn is quite not over yet. We still have a little time together. Shall we whisper? Shall we shout? Come, let us leave this topic for something more droll. It is our time after all, and it is up to us how we spend it. Why don't you think I can get up right now, take you by the hand and leave this place? We can walk out of here together, our legs. Let's go.
We can't.
We will traverse the elements, wade through water up to our hips. We will loudly stride across the earth. Nothing to fear now that we are here.
You and your promises, Rosa. Are you not tired of making them? They're lovely, but cause me grief. Nowhere in the script have these excursions been mentioned.
Yes, they have, Lawrence. I have just mentioned them, and I'll mention them again. Out we will venture, leaving footprints in snowy dales. Don't tell me you can't feel my hands pressing around your abdomen in an exaggerated squeeze. We're racing through the succession of hills in the winter landscape. Evergreens part from the path of our sleigh until we are finally once again at peace with gravity. Falling is our favourite pastime. There is no reason why we cannot get up, leave this place, and let a whole lifetime unfold in the wink of a word or two.
I'd like to fall with you, Rosa. But how can you fail to see that our every move, if prescribed in advance, we're fixed in a place, lively automata that pretend animation?
I admit your words have been put into your mouth. But Lawrence, You are more than the sum of your words. Be the body borrowed, be designated, be it organic, be it artificial, be the recipe of your making alphabetic, be it genetic. What makes you, Lawrence, extend far beyond all of these fields of description?
I see that in you, Rosa. To me, you are larger than life. Could we leave a mark like lovers do? Rosa and Lawrence were here.
We could certainly suggest it. We can nonchalantly drop the hint.
You mean borrow a severed hand, engrave our names somewhere?
Perhaps somebody will hear our plea, lend a helping hand to two lovers in need. Rosa and Lawrence were here, on the bark of a tree. A piece of paper, a discreet padlock and thrown key. What I'm saying. Lawrence, does it not feel somewhat vandalistic to leave such a transgressive notion dormant in this text? It breaches the code of the script, as if our hand were to reach out of the page, wear the glove of a living person and leave a mark in the world. It seems awfully illegal.
Maybe memory is always a kind of vandalism. Something is ruptured, betrayed, violated in favour of our new notion born in its scars.
Rosa and Lawrence were here.
More than a sum of their words. Not a bad epitaph for lovers unborn.
You know, Lawrence, there is an unruly speed planted in this very text, a winding vine which surely lends us the escape rope to our salvation. Into being we will emerge, another Tristan, another Isidole.
My dear Rosa, I've looked through the better part of our lifelong script, but I regret cannot quite seem to find it. Where is this crafty seed?
It's at the very end. It is the fact of its end. We are cut short. We are finite. We are digestible. We're a digestible tract of melody. We lie there after the taking. Compassionate mouths will resuscitate us, read for us, speak out of us anew. The world takes up our union and ponders over our case like an indecisive judge. Throughout the ages, time and time again, we return, we recede, and in the space of the world in deliberation, we age.
So comes the time when we must return to sleep. Silenced lovers, eternally patient. Let it not be long till our next meeting. Sweet dreams, Rosa. Good night.
Sweet dreams, Lawrence. Good night.